But what we really discussed last night was some certain words in their legal sense, as also the different groups of how these words come across in the sense where connotative, right? That's telling you on a more emotional sense, just the lighter sense how we use the word person just look like, okay, it's a man, it's a person, right? But on a stricter sense, the denotative form, it's actually going to the specific meaning of the word, the legal context of the word. So there are a lot of words where we use like persons, driver. Anybody else remember any words? Instrument, right? Charge, those words from a legal context. That's what really happened. Among that, also along with that, rather, we looked at the land or the name Jamaica and basically put it in our context to show you that it is nothing that you can touch. It is fiction, right? You can't touch the office of the prime minister. You can't touch you can't even touch the straw name, the name that uppercase name that you have. You can't touch it. It's not real, it's fictional. So too are all corporations. They are fictional by nature. That's why they said dead entity, they cannot talk. Those were some of the stuff we went over last night. And now Jamaica is really not a country as how we looked at it. It's actually a company that's doing in securities business. And the bulk of these securities actually come from our signatures that we are signing on different documents that have any form or relationship with any instrumentality of government, be it the post office, the police, the court, even the banks, because we get loan from the banks. And how we really think that process work, that's not how it work. The bank don't really lend you nothing. But I didn't really have anything planned in a sense for today or this evening. I had decided that we were going to look at affidavit, but after carefully thinking about in terms of being in a sequential order to follow up on last night, it would be best for me to actually go into a little bit of contract, because as I was saying last night, everything is contract or everything is commercial in nature. You are being charged. That means you are supposed to pay. And if you can't pay, you know the saying that says fine and confine. Listen to the word, I mean, confine, connotative, all of these CON word, right? Yeah, fine and confine, you sign a bail bond, right? It's a contract. The moment you put your signature on any document out there whatsoever, it's a contract. Like here in the US, I know this for a fact. Your job application, they monetize a job application, but when it really take effect, from my understanding, is when you leave the job. That whatever amount of money where you would make out a job there, right? Them actually use it in a draw off a bond from the value through this Octarian, what you call it? Who know about finance now? This word, actuary. Look what it is, right? How you spell again? AUCTUARY. That's how you spell? Okay, this is it, right? And it says actuary is a business professional who analyze financial consequences of risk, in the sense of they use mathematics, statistics, and financial theory to study uncertain future events. So they calculate based on how much money you actually work for that job. And when the application, they just float it over into the system as bonds. And then they come back and create the paper money, what we call money now, which is of no value, right? Them create the paper money and give for us to use in circulation to satisfy obligation that they really can't satisfy, because you can't use a debt somewhere down the line. Studying this knowledge, you can't use a debt to pay a debt. So when we think we are paying for things, we aren't paying for nothing. It is just on the other end, we were told that it's money and we agree, say, okay, this value $2,000. So we collect something, some note, right, with $2,000 on it, and it was whatever inscribed coming from the instrumentality of government. But that is not real money. The real money is your energy, your life essence, your dominion, or we give to them unknowingly. Anyway, to look at this definition for contract, and this is coming from Cornell Law. Really, you Google some legal matter. This is one of the website that most people here in the US them use and make reference to US codes and certain definitions for a lot of words. So it says it's an agreement between private parties creating mutual obligations enforceable by law. The basic elements for the agreement to be legally enforceable, to be a legally enforceable contract, are mutual assent expressed by a valid offer and acceptance, adequate consideration, capacity, and legality. Legality in this case makes reference to like the age. Once you're under 18, you can't, or certain age then, you can't enter into certain contract. So this is the trick again. We got involved in an implied contract. And if you remember last night, that was one of the things we went over, right? Implied contract, which is an express contract in an actual agreement. That means it was openly discussed. We decided on the terms and the condition and we agree, right? But you have another one that's called an implied, which wasn't express. So at the time of our birth, what they did with the birth certificate and coming from the mother, the birth certificate was signed over to the Department of Commerce, and your labor was pledged as collateral, right? So it was a form of contract that you didn't voluntarily entered. And this is another word they call informer. The mothers are they refer to them as informer because they said it was the mother who informed of the delivery. When you look what delivery mean really and truly, like you were sold into slavery in a sense, then your birthright was sold, it was delivered, right? It says that's where the legality come in, as I was trying to break that down just now. You have to be of a certain legal the age or certain things must matched up. In some states, elements of a consideration can be satisfied by a valid substitute, right? An overview. In essence, the four main elements of a contract really and truly: offer, acceptance, consideration, there's a capacity, disclosure. They really have some other little subtle or some more minor issues, but the major four elements: the offer, the acceptance, right, the consideration, and full disclosure. The offer is an example. You are being stopped by the police officer. Him come up to the window, documents and driver's license. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's an offer. That is something that you're going to accept by producing the documents that he or she required, right? Or under acceptance, you can conditionally accept. So this is like saying your wife asks you, hey, follow me to the supermarket. And you are telling her, okay, maybe no. If you follow me to the gun range first or the gun store, then me follow you go supermarket. That's like saying that's a conditional acceptance. So the process really and truly, because contracts, that's what makes the law, period. In this case with the police officer, under a conditional acceptance is like you're saying, hey, I have this document that I wouldn't mind you fill out before we would go any further. And this document really and truly is what's called a public service questionnaire, right? Let me see if I could quickly find it. We looked at it yesterday. It's a public service questionnaire where you are asking questions because, believe it or not, this is where we talk about dominion, where God gave us dominion over the earth in a shorter sense. You know what I mean, right? So being a man and not a person, another man is not, you are not obligated to answer to another man if you are not infringing on his right or his property. So in this sense, remember, these officers, they are public servant, right? So you would ask these questions. If you want to know my name, you got to tell me some stuff. That's conditionally accepting the offer. Now, if they refuse, and you are learned in the law to a certain extent, right? If they refuse anything that they do after refusing, they can be held liable. And this is where over here on the chart, when we looked at it yesterday, this is private law, where you deal with contract, tort. You could file tort claim against them if they should do anything that they're not supposed to do. And this is done through a what's called an administrative procedure, where the law that prescribe the procedures and methods of enforcing the rights and duties and to obtain redress. Now you guys might see where this makes sense. We're not dealing with over here that the part of the law that creates, define, and regulates rights, because they're talking about rights for property, what they create under the public law, which is this is substantive, under this is public, but I'm talking about the laws that their system creates, which is not natural law. You guys following me?
Yeah, man.
Yes, I'm following.
Okay, good. Yeah, because sometimes it easily go off track, free flow, right? Yeah, so we have the right in the capacity of a man, but we don't have these rights. See what it says? Private law, the body of law dealing with private persons and their property and relationship. So however you want to think about it, as I'm saying to you, a next man, you are not obligated to answer to a next man, because we're all equal. We were made equal under the natural law, the divine law, right? So as I'm saying to you, if I warn you not to do something and you should go ahead and do it, like I say to you, hey, don't move my car, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to this store, I'm going to drive a car. Guess what? You drive my car and damage it, I could file a claim. You weren't given permission. So if the officer decides to do something, right, he can be held accountable. Now, you might ask, why is it that most officers aren't being held accountable? And the reason why they're not being held accountable is because they are not in the system. They are not dealing with they're not dealing with natural persons. They are dealing with artificial. Is as if you are already dead. You are already dead. And I'm gonna pull up this word right here. I think we looked at it briefly last night. I'm gonna pull up this one right here. If you get what I'm saying, they can't see us. We are already dead in the database. It's just a number them assigned to we give the thing live, CIVILITER, civil liter mortuus, right? Look at this word, civil death. This is a Latin term, a legal term also, is the loss of all or most, is the loss of all or most, is the loss of all or almost all civil rights by a person due to a conviction for a felony or due to an act of government of a country that results in the loss of his civil rights. So the act of the government, pay attention to the word here now. You have an act of God and an act of government. Man was created by an act of God. Persons were created by an act of government. So I'm saying to you, they have jurisdiction over what they create. They have jurisdiction over that, but they don't have jurisdiction over you, the natural man. So when I say to you that why they get away is because you are already dead in the eyes of the law, and nobody can make no person can make a claim. Only a man can make a claim, because a person is fiction. So only a man can make a claim. And I will always go back to that little case yesterday with in down there in with Damon Crawford and what's his name? Damon Crawford and Kamika Johnson, the Foreign Affairs Minister. Damien made an offer, and his offer was him saying, hey, the government will deal with badness. Seeing? And because of badness the government will deal with, is as if he must speak out. I say anybody who talk out against the government, them get locked up. So he's making a claim, which is an offer. When you go court and the judge say, how do you plead? He's making a claim. So the response is supposed to be, you don't understand the nature and cause of what he's doing, because he's asking you to say, okay, guilty or not guilty. If you're not guilty, you're just conditional, accept, and saying, hey, I am willing to go to trial. But if you say guilty, you just accept the offer. It's a contract. Now, you are supposed to conditionally accept the offer in the sense where you're saying, hey, who is making the claim? Is there a man here today that is making the claim? Let him speak now or forever hold his peace. And if you're following me carefully, look at it. The judge is fiction. You can't touch the judge, right? But the man is acting as the judge. So the judge might be James Robert, and he's doing business as the judge. The doing business as the DBA is his name, is his business name. So for us on the private side, once you go over on the private side, we are securing the natural man, and then we register businesses with the fiction. So it's like you will have a DBA, you're a business. So you don't have anything in your appellation or your name. So you be like them. You take what was over there in the public, which is a straw, and you put a lien on it, you put it up, and you introduce. Remember Monopoly? Remember Monopoly game? Talk to me.
Yeah, man, Monopoly, yeah. We used to play that game a lot.
Yeah, man. So this thing can be looked at in several different ways. So in terms of back to the courthouse now, like being in front, and these guys, a lot of times they are not real judges, you know, they are administrating officers, administrators in the black robe appearing as judge. But we have to remember, paper cannot contract with man. So we call these things instruments that they're sending, warrants and all these kind of thing. You get a warrant from an office of the government. Who sent the warrant? It will tell you acting judge or whatever, James, whatever, judge for district court or whatever. All of these things are fictional. So you will be sending a document in response, right, to whatever they sent, and you are accepting or conditionally accepting. So when they say, like, I'm saying this again, like the charge you, right? You are charged against, what's on the paper is your name, John Doe, against Regina in Jamaica. That's the Queen, as we said yesterday. I'm gonna really repeat myself, but just for the flow from yesterday, this is the reason why I'm doing this. Regina, yeah. Regina is fiction, right? So how can Regina be the other complaint or the complainant? It can't be, because if Regina is the complainant, what are you doing there? You, the real man. You don't belong there. So some trickery is taking place. They want to get some money from you. It's a charge. You pay, and they file a claim on the property because you're a property. But when you're in your proper status now, you could file claim and do all of these things and go for redress, as it says over here. But on the other part of contract, because I didn't stray from the point, right? A lot of people might not. I did a little research on this, and to say offer acceptance, which I told you can be strictly yes, I will do it with you, let's go, come on. Or you can conditionally and say, hey, help me do this first. Or what about going to the movies before whatever, right? That's conditionally accepting again. But consideration on the other side, consideration, it says facts about consideration. Consideration in a legal sense is anything of value. So it's like you must give something of value, right? One of the most essential components of an agreement that you can enforce in court is consideration. And enforce in court is like you're speaking of it as a defense. A promise to paint your neighbor's fence might be a friendly gesture comparable to a gift. If you add the fact that your promise to paint the fence was made in exchange for your neighbor's promise to do repairs on your car, the nice gesture might be the consideration contract law recognizes as supporting a legally enforceable contract. So consideration comes with something being exchanged, and it has to be something of value. Consideration is more than simply the paying of money in exchange for something, whether it is services for goods. There are other forms of consideration that are not easy to recognize, as agreeing to pay $100 in exchange for a tire for your car. Consideration is what you give in exchange for what you get from the other party to the contract. So you give consideration, which is this, but really and truly this has no value. Exchange is what you get from the other party. Promises, promises. Sometimes the consideration for a contract takes the form of a promise in exchange for a promise. This creates what lawyers refer to as a bilateral contract or a bilateral agreement. The promise to paint your neighbor's fence would be a gift were it not to be your neighbor's promise to fix the car. I guess we will all agree. Here you have a promise in exchange for a promise. So a legally enforceable contract has been created. If you do not paint your neighbor's fence, you could be sued by your neighbor for a breach of contract. So you are obligated to perform. It's called compelled performance in contract. When promises give way to actions, when you agree to pay $100 for the tire for your car, it might seem bilateral contract, but it's not. Your offer to pay for the tire creates a unilateral contract because you are giving money in exchange for a tire. And this is saying it's unilateral because what you're giving has no value in terms of being a paper money, the note, which is the $100 bill. No, check them more than a bill and note in a legal context. Trust me. The consideration is a unilateral contract. In a unilateral contract is a promise in exchange for an act. The promise is the offer of $100 upon receipt of the tire, or a promise for an act. Giving up something as consideration for a contract. If your wealthy uncle asks you to stop smoking cigarettes for a year in exchange for his promise to give you $1,000, your first thought would be, what is he getting out of this? Your promise to quit smoking is based upon your uncle's promise to pay you the money. So it is an agreement you can enforce in court, assuming you make it through the year without smoking. Past consideration is really no consideration. Consideration really must be something promised or performed now or in the future, but it cannot be something you did in the past. And the example is, if your uncle asks you to quit smoking, right, and promise you $1,000 for helping him last year when he was moving. A couple of weeks passes by, but your uncle did not give you the money. It's telling you, unfortunately, there is not much you can do, because the promise to pay you in consideration for a good deed last year is a past consideration. So past consideration cannot be enforceable. It's not enforceable, right? So I'm saying this to say, in banking, all we borrow money from bank, all we borrow loan from bank. And I have found out that, like here in the US, in America, um, most people who are doing this process, it's called a correction, status correction. You can Google the term. That's what it's called, status correction. Because one of the best thing any person can do or any man can do is the status correction, which you are setting up all the relevant documents that would be putting the system on notice that you are not what they presume you to be, that fictional person. So think about this now. The bank, you fill out a loan application, and the bank will call you and tell us, okay, to approve. You go in and you sign something. That document that you sign, like you sign an agreement or a promise to pay, right? Which is, it's like a binding contract. Now, we don't know that, so when we sign them thing here now, and the bank goes up and them grown at the back and them do what them do, and them create one account for you and then put something in the account. You got the ATM go take it out, right? That thing that they gave to you, it is nothing of value. And this is everywhere where they have a central bank. Jamaica has a central bank. This is the art of the banks being scammer. Seeing, you sign that document in the capacity of a blank endorsement. We did this last night, blank endorsement. The bank takes the instrument, as it is called, because it does enforce something in law, right? And they, like, say for example, is 100,000 you're gonna borrow. The moment you put your signature on that document, it gives value of 100,000 because it is pledged against your labor. We give the bank credit. We give the bank money. What we did, we gave them an extension of the credit. So they use that document and they go to the bigger bank, like Bank of Jamaica. And what they do, they get an authorization of credit because, yeah, your credit worthy based upon your TR and you pay your thing them on time so you can get the money. So them go the BOJ, get the thing in a credit, but the credit will then come back and create one account for you and put some paper money in there. This sound like when you go to the casino and you give them a debit card or you give them some cash and you get the chips that can only be used inside that casino or the casino, right? But it has no value outside of that premises. Seeing? So yeah, we take the paper money now and spend it and we use it and do what we are doing, get things done, and we agree, say, okay, this is the value. So we give value to that piece of paper. Now you have a bill for payback. Where you are going to use pay the bill, the same instrument. But at the same time, the instrument that you gave them, right? The instrument that you gave them, because it is of value, they have it on their books and they could use it to create more loan. Them call that fractional reserve banking, right? Fractional reserve. They can use it to create more loans as well as they could further trade it. So you remember, you paying them back the loan and you give them $100,000, double dipping in everything them do, right? So what the remedy what we have here so now is actually looking at it as a breach of contract, right? And one of the thing that you would normally do is send and ask them for a debt verification. And that go back to the same article that was in the paper with Crawford, when the opposing party says, hey, he need to get evidence for back up him claim. That is what we call debt verification. So they're making a claim that there's a debt and they keep sending you this thing every month and tell us you owe the money. So you need them to verify the debt. And the bank can't talk. So the bank can't verify the debt. And if the man who is acting as the manager or the banker should at any point in time sign that him lend you something, him lend you money, him just gonna put himself in a trouble because he actually did not. And some of these documents is what we use here, right? Let me see something. Let me look on the third step. The third step, you actually write your own thing. This is some of what you actually send to some of these. Sometimes them sell the debt to, you know, when they decide to, you know, pay them, sell the debt, right? And say a typical thing here, notice and demand to cease and desist collection activities prior to validation, right? And you're saying pursuant to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Acts. These are in the United States. I found a document, I have it on my computer, but I don't know where it is. And it is the civil codes for Jamaica. I don't know if you can Google and try to find it. It names civil codes for Jamaica, and that regulate contractual agreements, right? But this is saying this constitutes a timely written notice that I dispute the entire amount of the alleged loan, because if it is not verified, Damon Crawford was making an allegation that the government lock up people for criticize or lick out pan Anjo. It is an alleged allegation. No, them word them always using a quote and the lie them. And that I declined to pay the attached erroneous purported debt notice, which is unsigned and unattested. Them not signed nothing, no. So you did put your signature alone upon the something. That is why it says it's a unilateral agreement, because a contract that's an agreement, it's not a contract, because a contract's supposed to have both signatures. Them trick you and I tell you say it's a contract and whatever. Two signatures for the upon it, only one upon it. And which I discharge and cancel in its entirety without dishonor, on the grounds of breach of contract, false representation, and fraud in inducement. You refuse to answer my notice of adequate assurance, that was a document sent to them before, thus ending the alleged agreement and giving me evidence that you did not follow GAP. Just some words where them things are generally accepted accounting principles. All banks across the globe will have central bank in the country. All countries that has a central bank use GAP, double entry. It says generally accepted accounting principles, and it's like double entry. According to the bookkeeping entries, the borrower provided money or credit, a thing of value. So we'll come back down, thing of value, to fund the alleged loan or check or similar instrument in question. Failure to answer my notice of adequate assurance tells me that you acknowledge that I funded the alleged loan, because, as I tell you, we give them the money when we sign. It's not them. Corporation can't lend nothing. That is where where they are using our estate. That is why they want to keep us dumbed down and in this form of mental slavery where they have us continuously signing in black ink, and we don't know our rights or even how to assert them, right? Me really happy sound there, and some things is not a quick fix, but to give you a little different way to look at it, in a sense where why would you want to be living as a subject under somebody else's rules and commands when you are a man just like them? The government is not real. And it's not like me, I say, hey, them figure or whatever, they're just not real. And real, if you're not real, how can you represent something that is real? So it says, the loan agreement was stolen. It says, let me read this part again. Failure to answer my notice of adequate assurance and due performance tells me that you acknowledge that I funded the alleged loan and that the loan agreement was stolen and forged, thus ending any claim you have against me. UCC 15, whatever. State that a false, deceptive, and misleading representation in connection with the collection of any debt includes false representation of the character or legal status of any debt, and further makes a threat to flag of action that cannot legally be taken as a deceptive thing. The long and short of it, it'll tell us, you're asking them some questions, right? According, and look what it says right here. According to Black's Law Dictionary, according to your understanding of the alleged agreement, is the written agreement by terms used within the definitions of a loan or an exchange of equal value for equal value? You see where it's getting at? It's pointing out that you are now learned in the law that they didn't give you anything of value. So you're asking them these questions because it's there on the law books that the note isn't anything of value. According to your understanding of the alleged agreement, if I use my credit because we have the credit, corporation now have none. Tell yourself that we creditor, and we use the straw, the all caps name, to create the debt, that we can discharge it. There is not so much discharging taking place down there in Jamaica, because discharge is opposite a charge. When then charge, you discharge it. So people are using them same method inside a court, because remember I was showing you guys last night, all crimes are commercial. So when you set up your birth certificate, bond, and all these kind of things with the treasury, you can go inside and if them and settle the debt. You offer to settle and closure the matter upon the fact that they cannot produce credible evidence. Worse if one of them crime the way you're not in a real party, any real party and a real man, them call it real party, or a real woman. Yeah. If I use my credit to fund a loan to a mortgage, does the banks, whatever you put the name there, loan me other people's money? According to your understanding of the alleged agreement, if I purchase a home from my credit, does the mortgage company not lend me other people's money? Record the funds charged on the bank on the mortgage company as an asset with a newly created liability? And that liability is for you, same one, but it's supposed to be double entry where it's on the book as a liability to you, an asset to them, and vice versa. It says, according to your understanding of the alleged agreement, if I mortgage a loan from my credit, does the mortgage company receive an asset? When we're going on the more here, I know it might look a bit too deep here, so now I'm assuming, but when you're going here, so it's like, you find, say, them not lending no money. It says, look at this, it says, if whatever mortgage company is complying with the Federal Reserve Bank policies and procedures when issuing credit and charging interest, is the borrower's transaction account credited for the amount borrowed, and is that the matching liability for the amount that is debited to the bank asset account. It's like the bank the bank them literally can't lend you no money because they don't have any money. They don't have one penny. Get money when you go to the door. When you walk through the door, that's how them get the money. For a better word. So we have documents where we can use at Jamaica for people who have student loan because it's contract, you know. But we just have to be willing to learn the law because we're not supposed to pay none. And I said this for say, look at this. This is one with me. I always like show something with myself. 2019, Bank of America for 60 what them say? Plaintiff, you know. The plaintiff is Bank of America. Me can't touch this or something. And then this also, my name is fiction, uppercase. You never see them come in a lowercase name yet. And I remember clearly, I can tell you, the document that I sent to, because I was dealing with Bank of America and tell them for my 4,000 credit card, and I tell them, say, them have to provide whatever. And them couldn't provide it, and then sell it to a law firm, Cooling and Winter. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, Cooling and Winter, right? This is one document that I sent to them. This to Cooling and Winter coming from me. It said, I, Queen Mitchell, the borrower, hereby give notice to alleged lender for request of confirmation of terms and condition of agreement and adequate assurance of due performance that lender did not breach agreement, right? I'm gonna ask them some question and sign it and send it, go get them, right? I look for the next one really and truly, the one with the teeth. I'm not sure if I have it on the computer here, so. The one with the teeth, notice of default, bill confirmation, security agreement. And I'll find the one that I want to see some this is. But the other one that says, when that happened, right? We find out, this is my experience. What happened was that when I sent the document to the law firm, what they did, they hurriedly went and got a notice of voluntary dismissal, and they never answered me. And it says, please take notice that plaintiff is hereby that plaintiff hereby voluntarily dismisses the above style action pursuant to 9-11 41 OCGA, right? 9-11, and just for a little that time, I'm gonna look at 9-11 41A, 9-11 41A, and this is OCGA 9-11 41A, right? And the OCGA is the official codes of Georgia annotated, right? Some bodies allow them have. See it here, them say dismissal of action, right? A voluntary dismissal effect. So it says dismissal of actions recommends within 6 months. Recommencement within 6 months. So what they did, they they pull it out, they withdraw the case, right? As if they were gonna put it back in 6 months, but they never did. And just look at it again what it says. Plaintiff takes notice. Please take notice that plaintiff hereby voluntarily dismisses the style above action. So them trick you if you come to court. So the company here, cooling and winter, they trick you to come to court because guess what? You see, if me did full now, and it reach a court, which it reach at the court now, but it never go up for trial. So if me did go so bumps now and go into the court and tell them agree say the one of the way how people do it is the lawyer who is representing the bank, them always come and show the agreement and say to you, say, if this isn't your signature, right? And the worst thing we can do is agree. Worse when a photocopy. We agree and say yes, our signature. That's nothing that we should ever do, right? In essence, because as we're saying, I wanted to talk about contracts and affidavit because all the lawyers coming to court with is an affidavit. And as soon as we go in an affidavit, we're going to understand, say, hey, affidavit is stating facts. The lawyer didn't write the affidavit. So if it's somebody from the bank, you need somebody to come inside the court who you can question and ask him questions, and they can't and they won't. So this is the reason why them themselves get afraid once they start use affidavit, because them have to put them name, them real name, even if they are signing. Look what they did right here. BAP, stamp. I used to them put them name up there. So Caroline Lee Harwell. This is the fictional part of them dealing with the fictional part of me, but them want to trap me because me don't know say this me is not this. So that is the essence of this thing when I try to show you. So the name is not you, and you are not the name. So I could go down and look briefly what an affidavit is, right? It's telling you here that an affidavit is a written version of swearing under oath to tell the truth, just if you were testifying in a courtroom, right? But it is done under oath, meaning you swear under penalty of perjury or whatever. Notice, you never get a public official if you swear under penalty of perjury. Never. So that is why when you send them your stuff, them can't rebut it. But there is a presumption that they are using, and if we straighten out the presumption, and the presumption in this case, like opposite of presumption is a fact, right? So the presumption is in this case is when Damon Crawford say, oh, the government are badness them I use, because anybody talk about them, they lock them up. But the other side have to try and make it that way there. But it's really a fact. So inside your affidavit, it says, do affidavit hold up in courts, right? An affidavit by itself is inadmissible. One cannot cross-examine a piece of paper. That is the reason why I said to you a while ago, say when the lawyer come with a piece of paper, you tell him, say, hey, you need first-hand knowledge of the truth. Because if him can't mute there, if him can't give you a first-hand knowledge, anything at all him will come with a hearsay. And hearsay is only admissible in court if you not tell the judge, say, objection, Your Honor. I remember saying my old police, objection, Your Honor. See? And at that time, the only thing the judge supposed to say is overrule or sustain. And anyhow at all, him not say nothing out of them two, something they might want to try to talk you in, because sometimes the judge and the lawyer work, You understand what I say? He might want to talk, a little something. I say, okay, we will. And you make him know straight. I say, hey, you need him for rule upon your objection so that you can preserve the record. And the record is just as I remember the article yesterday who did there when Kamina Johnson said, you can't afford for them things upon the record in this chamber. And you see what I talk about, So we have rights out there, but we can't defend the rights because them have with dominion. Our estate is in probate. So go back to the thing again. It says it is hearsay without the person who signed it present in the court and ready to testify about it as well as authenticate it if it's necessary. So none of them board now come a court. So we can use the affidavit of identity, right? Affidavit of this is something I would really want to do now, brethren. Would hear, so right? You see, when we have to come out of the corporation, is we would have to gather with families and everybody close to in a sense where the woman them need to stop take birth certificate when them go to the hospital. Right? Need to stop take birth certificate. And what one of the things we can use is an affidavit of birth, is a document that acts as a written solemn oath that a birth occurred. Once notarized, meaning the JP stamping, this form may help someone to prove citizenship. What we know is that we don't want to be no citizenship, we want to be the man where God intended or the woman where God intended for us, the supreme being. Almighty intended for us, right? So not really pay attention to this. And Google part this, I say apply for even a new birth certificate. You get what I say? Because yes, I trick there. You say once you got apply for a new birth certificate, that one you go come with a number. And this number them are going to use for assign to you, the man. And that's where they create the straw, the uppercase name, the moment you go apply for your birth certificate. Remember, say most women are going to baby hospital now, the baby name of you already before the baby born, or as soon as the baby born, them want a name. And that's how we get triggered, right? That's how the first contract start. When we catch 18 or 21 now, we supposed to come forward and declare as competent to take charge of our estate because our estate is in probate. That is the reason why them can't send picnic or family when the parents are ill-treat them because they belong to the state. They were registered by the birth certificate. They were given up to the state. You know follow what I say?
Yeah, I'm on a ward of the state,
Oh, they become a ward of the state.
Object a word there, ward of the state.
So look on this again now. Look on this now. When they talk about legal, legal, GUAR, legal guardian. We are legal guardians of our parents, A legal guardian is a person who has been court appointed to take care of another person. Enough of we think so. This is how they look at us in the legal, so legal guardian. Remember when you go, you're young and I get them little thing that fit mom come a parents teachers meeting. They say if your mother can come some legal guardian. Talk to me.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
So look on it now. In a connotative format, we use this little phrase here. So if I mean anybody who in charge, are we then? But guess what? That's what our mothers and our fathers are. They are legal guardian. Remember we were talking about this last night. We were talking about wait there. I'll find it. We were talking about the Crown Vesting Act. And if you look at what it says right here, it says the Crown Vesting Act, remember it says vesting, title vesting. Look how them take away. Hold on there. Tell us them in a free flow. See? You all right and you don't feel now, Title vesting is the way an owner or owners of property takes title to their real estate. See? How to hold title vesting. Joint tenancy, Tenants in common, tenants in entirety, sole ownership, mute that something there. Community property. Now, I don't know if it sound like me a straight to it, but the information is sweet, Because when you understand joint tenancy, you find say when you go to the bank and you get an NHT loan to buy your house or buy the land, somebody is on it as joint tenancy. Ask yourself who that person is or who that entity is. Tenants in common, husband and wife, two people go in a business and say they might buy something, man. We might buy a thing, we'll buy a house. We say two will come together and we say we'll buy a house, But guess what? We're not going to live in there. We'll use it as investment. But should in case me supposed to can sell you my share if me not want nothing to do it and I sign it over to my offspring. This is when you use tenants in common. Right? Tenants by entirety, this go one different way. All of them own a certain amount of share same way, but it is more than two or something like that. I think that one year be. But title vesting, as I was just looking at it through the act, title vesting is it says, and I'm talking about the birth certificate in the card. This when the crown, this is Jamaica, 1960. 61, 62. This is when the British Crown I put it in one trust. I put the land in the trust, make it a trust property. When I reach with the Akia, when I reach with really and truly. But then they didn't only take like remember tell us land encompasses even you, the man standing off the land, you are off the land. You are considered to be land, you are considered to be property. So it tell us existing instrument means any certificate of title. Your birth certificate is a certificate of title, right? So them really doing this property vesting, property vesting by taking over your title, because as I was telling you last night again, the title is your original. The little short piece of birth certificate, that the little piece with the red border and your name written in a pen, and it is first letter uppercase, the rest of letter then lowercase, just like how we learn to write it. So that is the original title, and they create another title from that called the birth certificate, and the certificate really show ownership. So right, so we jump off when Christian when they set the ship in the water, you're gone on the citizenship in the Jamaican corporation, right? So we are in a legal context, we're guardians, right? So our estate is in probate, and we're also considered to be dead and lost at sea until we reach 18, 19. We live life claim, not live life claim. We come and declare so we're competent to handle our affairs. And this is what this document shows you. Let me see how quick we can pull it up. The power of attorney is like you fire all of them, you put them on notice because they are misappropriate your funds. Misappropriate them now, manage the trust. Them now manage the trust the right way, or the trust is supposed to be managed. So you end up fire them. Seeing? And the fact that you fire them now, you now competent can act as man and satisfy any obligation, and now you are living peacefully, because the moment you violate somebody or you violate somebody property, that's a real crime. Notice it with the maroon them down the way I go to school. Them tell us you can't do maroon them nothing unless they damage somebody or somebody property. Somebody say amen.
Amen. Amen.
Hey, you want to talk to me, man? I want to know internet.
We have internet, man. We have internet. We're there.
Yeah, so it's really right there. So it there, because they only have jurisdiction over the thing that they created, right? Jurisdiction over the straw, right? We think the straw is us, so hence we are regulated and conditioned and trained for do what them say them want to do. But once we understand how to use the affidavit of truth, you have all different type of affidavit, and all you're drafting up and putting in these documents is the facts of how you see the thing or what happened from a first-hand knowledge, and you sign and swear under penalty of perjury. Seeing, make the JP deal with it and sign it, and you issue your instrument, send it off. Them have 30 days under commercial law. You remember we looked briefly at that last night. 10 maxims of commercial law. 10 maxims of commercial law. And look on the one that I really love, right? See what it says right here, so understand contract law and you win. Strictly. This is TJ, somebody may listen to TJ, them website, right? Understanding contract law and you win. It tells you right here, we are looking to be sovereigns. We are sovereigns, you know. And it tells you the second maxim, I'm not reading the first one, equality before the law, or more precisely, all are equal under the law. So when you state your claim, you expect a next man to answer. And if a man don't answer, he is in agreement. They call it silent mean consent. You agree with what I say. So you will see down here, so now when it say unrebutted affidavit stands as truth. So if you never say nothing when time me send my affidavit, you agree with me. Silent mean consent. You're giving me consent, or you're in agreement with what I'm saying. This is one of the most comforting maxims one could have, and your foundation for your peace of mind and your security in your capacity to win and triumph, to get the remedy. In this business, in commerce, truth is sovereign, and all of them make reference to the Bible. Truth is sovereign, and the sovereign tells only the truth. Your word is your bond. If truth were not sovereign in commerce, all human actions and interrelations, there would be no basis for anything. No basis for law and order. No basis for accountability. There would be no standard. No capacity to resolve anything. It would mean anything goes. Each man for himself, and nothing matters, right? Truth is expressed of an affidavit. So it's like, in order for us to activate the level of consciousness we want, when they say conscious minds, we are express ourselves in the form of affidavit, and we are living according to the divine law. Harm no one. Let no man harm you. Seeing? Yeah. An affidavit is your solemn expression of your truth. In commerce, an affidavit must be accompanied and must underlay and form the foundation for any commercial transaction whatsoever. There can be no valid commercial transaction without someone putting their neck on the line and stated that is true. So the bank manager can't put him signature on the thing and say, true, then lend your money. Then go to prison. That is why the law firm hurry up and go drag the thing out of the court. Them can't say true, correct, complete, and not meant to mislead. Because they didn't give you full disclosure and tell you that, okay, they're going to sell your promissory note. They never do that, right? When you issue an affidavit, it is a two-legged sword. I did this last night. It cut both ways. You have to make sure, say, I truth, I talk. Someone has to take responsibility for saying that it's a real situation. It can be called a true bill. As they say in the grand jury, when you issue an affidavit in commerce, you get the power of an affidavit. You also incur the liability, because this has to be a situation where other people are affected by it. Things change by your affidavit in which are going to affect people's life. If what you say in your affidavit is in fact not true, then lose who you adversely affect. Then those who are adversely affected can come back at you with justifiable recourse because you lied. You have told a lie as if it were the truth. People depend on your affidavit, and they have lost because you lied. An unrebutted affidavit stands as truth, and unrebutted affidavit stands as judgment in commerce. So remember saying now, when you talk about judgment, a judge and court. So one of the process how them deal with things, I want to always hear people say foreign people love sue, don't it? And this, so you get private law. if a guy fail to answer what you said to him in the sense where they had caused you some damage, because guess what, brother? Them cause you fear work money and pay them back, you know. Anybody have a loan, you know. And them cause your mental anguish. You have what's called punitive damage. Listen, look at these. TYPES, types of, we can't write, you know. Types of damages in contract law. Look at this. 6 different type of damages. Just look on something. Let me see what the website I got bring up. You have incidental damage, consequential damage, or remedies, nominal, liquidated, punitive, right? Key takeaway. You have different type of damages that you would actually go after them for. Seeing? So where this part is concerned, the part that says judgment is like after you would have you sent them document, right? And they refuse to answer. It says he who leaves the battlefield first loses by default. So they're not responding. You know where yourself. You want them first and for true. So them lose by default. So what you do, you go ahead now and issue what's called a default notice. And default notice I just strictly tell us, hey, you know, some reach out to about some matter and never answer me. I want to feel like say, you guys are not compelled to act, right? Seeing, yeah, right. This is something I do again for somebody. You strictly send them a default notice, June 14th, whatever, notarized breach of agreement and sign. This one is breach notice of default, yeah. Under commercial law, an unrebutted affidavit stand as fact. In law, you are compelled to perform to such affidavit point by point, because you can't state 10 points and them only respond to 5 or 2 and get to it. And if you fail to do so, your tacit acquiescence, mean you're agreeing with me, and failure to respond within the stipulated time, because you normally give them 10, 15, 21 days, 30 days in the first part. For them say back something in the affidavit forms the basis of you agreeing with the contents enclosed therein. Since my affidavit has not been rebutted, your silence is acquiescence. Notice is hereby given to you and all agents and principals of the Bank of America that you are now in default. See, now you sign it, you're going to go back on something there. When you go so bam now, you go do the default there, you can go to the court or on the public record, you file a lien. So look on the word now. It's the word that we call a lien. Yes, so I talk to you. Good now. What they do with the person, the name, right? When they want to come at you for a debt, they file a lien. The lien is called unalienable rights. Where then take them file a lien upon your rights because you are a property. When them say them deport you, them file a lien upon the name, and them never deport nobody from the United States of America Republic. Them always say removal from the US. And I'm saying to you, just as I tell us that the office of Jamaica or the office of the Prime Minister is fictional, you cannot touch it. The US is fictional, you cannot touch it either. It is just like Cornwall, Middlesex, sorry. It is just like Portland, St. Mary, Hanover. None of those, we can't touch them. So them really put a lien on our residency called alien resident. Everything we then do, I take away the dominion, the right what God give you. You're right. Your dominion, ownership, right to property, them take away your right. And then in a civil law now, look what me I tell you, I never remember to come back here, so me I talk about the Queen and the birth certificate title. In civil law, reference to the title to property which is transferred by sale of it. I remember me they come around here, so and me I say the over here, the Crown Vesting Act, when them I put the thing in the trust, the instrument, right? which is the birth certificate, any certificate of title registered, right? This is when they must chop up all of everything that is of value on the land of Jamaica and on the land of Jamaica. And they move it off from the land of Jamaica to right there, so. See it there? They move the man standing on the land, and they move the man off the land off Jamaica to the corporation called Jamaica, and you are called persons. You're not called man anymore. You're called persons, which is artificial. And this artificial thing is represented by a government. Say government right, so. Them are under something, because it's artificial. Them use it for talk to the birth certificate or the TRN will come after the birth certificate or the name. Them use it for talk to the straw man. We think so we are the straw man. So it's like up here, so we're going in one different jurisdiction. And even though it is being referred to as being civil, it is just the body of law that deals with property on a different level, because they not deal with natural law. It deal with civil. Civil in a sense deal with the aspect of natural law, you know. And this is where you have when them call it Admiralty Maritime, because Admiralty law has a civil division and it has a criminal division. But the whole like a trickery. It's supposed to be, it really and truly is supposed to be one, but that is why they have to make all crimes commercial. Whether you get catch with gun, drugs, or whatever, it is commercial. See? And thing and you actually realize what I'm saying when I said title vesting. This is what the Queen was doing. So you can go to court, back to the contract something now, and do the lien, file a complaint in the court, and get what's called a summary judgment, because they never answer. That summary judgment is what would allow you to go file a lien. So once you're in your proper status as a man, you file a lien, you can go after their assets. It is the same thing that the government that they do when they're coming after companies and coming after your assets, which is your sweat equity, your right, your dominion. I then come off in a form of a slavery. We were sold into slavery rather. We understand, so we have this. The Bible tells us the good old natural law book tells us, so we have this, right? We have a dominion. Shortly after that, we come into this world, we were registered, right? And the registration is you being sold into slavery by virtue of the birth certificate that them stamp your foot on it or whatever, registered with the Department of Commerce, right? Understanding that the land is Jamaica, or some say ex-Jamaica. So they were giving this little place, so they might get independence. So may I talk about it in the context of coming up to independence as we look on the Crown Vesting Act, right? They knew the plan where they carry out. So them say, okay, we'll give them independence, you know. But the independence, so we'll give them. Now, when we create the Jamaican citizenship, because prior to that, the people made up on the land, they were British West Indies. Seeing? So when they register Jamaica now, we get the birth certificate. Now, in order for them to give you the independence, they move us off the land into a fictional jurisdiction, which is artificial by nature and considered to be lifeless. It is dead. Now, they stop referring to us as man. Now we are persons. So if we go back down to the Vesting Act, this came about as I looked at the definition where it tells us civil law, reference to the property which is transferred by sale. When you understand what property is, persons are property. Transferred by sale. Dominion is said to be proximate or remote, the former being a kind of vesting title in the purchaser when he has acquired both the ownership and possession of the title, the latter describing the nature of his title when he has legitimately acquired the ownership. So them get ownership of you because then create that name where we act as the name. I don't know if I answer your question like how you want me to answer it, you know, right? Go back down to the Vesting Act. This was when the lands were conveyed over into a trust. This act may be cited as the Crown Property Vesting Act. And vesting is when you go out and acquire property. Seeing the accountant general of the accountant arm down the way, do the finances for down there. The commissioner mean the commissioner of lands. When you look at what lands are, lands including you, the man, the woman, them have the committee, and they tell you existing instruments. Existing instruments means any certificate of title. Car, I'm telling you, see the cars all over even here, so too. What I see, I'm thinking with the car. When you go to buy a vehicle, a car, right? You're supposed to get what's called the allodial title, right? And allodial title, man supposed to the status there. Well, let me look at this word for you. allodial, allodial, right? Should I look at allodial title or allodial? Which one? An allodial title constitute ownership of real property, land, building, and fixtures that is independent of any superior landlord. So this is how we come into the world in our allodial title, in our true status, right? They split the title in two, and they create what's called a certificate of title. That's what you have for your car. The certificate of title allows you to register, because them have one next title where they call the legal title, where tell you so you can't bring the car up on the road if you're not insure it. You can't do this if you're not doing with it. You have to value it, right? The valuation of the car, go back into the insurance, something to actuary and tactics again, and them create a band fight. So I'm saying to you, this was where the British Crown, land mean any tenure in tenements and hereditaments, things where we inherit, whether corporeal or incorporeal, whether I want real or not. But this one up here, so tell you now, say allodial, it is talking about land, right? But building and fixtures is a real property. So we could be included in it. So that's why them split the allodial title for us. Them not a title for the land now. We have the title for the land now. But the title for the land is in our birthright, our allodial title is this: the dominion, ownership, or the right to property, perfect or complete property or ownership. So we entitled to a piece of this rock. But that's why I miss against buying land, because me not believe in it. Me not believe in it. But on the civil side, my brother, right? Them split the thing in a two and keep on giving you a piece of them transfer. Every time them transfer the debt. This minute you pay them, that is why they can sell the debt, because them have a copy of the title where they create the instrument that was created. Me sound like me answer your question?
Yeah, man. You're going on, go, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm saying this thing is, this document, Virgin, trust me. Me not read off a word, you know, but you realize you read one trust. You're reading a trust. They were putting the land in a trust. They were putting the land in a trust. You don't know, so we're as. But anyway, they were putting it in a trust. So what I say them do now? Them create one next something up here, so move. So them move, but I know with them move, and the name them carry gone over here, so I use the name for regulate, we come back around here. So now we are going to kill the presumption, so we are the name of the same thing. And bring back ourselves on the land, and then they don't have jurisdiction over us, because now we're dealing man to man. We're not dealing with this Jamaica up here so anymore. We're dealing with the land. I am of the land. And if I didn't infringe on your right, how comes the state a claim where you charge me for? Against Regina? Regina can't come to court. It has to be a next real man who are going to bring a suit. See? Hey, I'll show you that something. This was for somebody. Mitchell him name too. Now have nothing to do with me, just like our special depaya. Seeing? Okay, this is how I do it. And look now. Let me introduce myself. I am a man. I am known by friends of the Mitchell family I received papers from you. I don't recall ever having meeting or entering any contracts with you. I believe there has been a mistake. So I tell them, say, you never in a contract with them, you know. I am viewing you as a woman as you act as the state's attorney on behalf of the government. Did I enter into contracts with you and the government? If yes, I did so in error. I am not a member of the legal society. I am an idiot. When you check what idiot mean in the law, go look on it. If there were contracts which I entered into, I did so under duress of threat of harm, injury, loss of limb, and life. I carried out all orders issued to me by the police, the men and women who were functioning in the capacity as law enforcement officers or officers of the courts. Looking back, I regret my decisions because I thought that by cooperating with servants, remember that name, that it would be of benefit to me. Them always want to tell us, come, tell me what happened, and you want me to help you out? You got to tell me what happened. That's an offer. It's an offer they're making to you. What are you going to do? Tell them what happened? By extending my trust and confidence in them instead was a single source of harm, injury, or financial loss. Now I know better. I believe that said men and women overstepped their authority, acted in bad faith, with conflict of interest, knowingly for the purpose of financial gains and personal rewards. As the state's attorney, notice this is in all caps because it's fictional, you can't touch this. It is my wish, and I do require of you that you cancel all contracts. These are the charges that they are alleging, connected to or associated with the suit case for reasons of suspected fraud. If it is also my wish that I do require of you that you ensure the restoration of all private properties and trust funds wrongfully taken, carried, and paid away be restored post haste in connection with the suitcase. And this rises a £5 of ganja. I tell the state attorney say if send back. I am not a citizen of the United States. I am an aborigine. I hail from the land of Jamaica. Here as a guest in this country, I believe in an almighty creator. I am a living flesh being having a relationship between God and myself. I am a honest man, a man of peace. I am self-directed and have managed and conducted my affairs properly. What laws did I break? Did you break natural law or man-made law? I believe the public servants acted or made errors when they presume or assume improperly that I was a citizen of the United States. Notice this, United States is in uppercase, and that I waive all rights. Is there a claim before the court? Who is the man making the claim that I owe a debt? They're always going after some money. If there is a man making that claim, let him come forward, present the bill for my verification. Again, Damon Crawford have to verify what I must say. So you will be presenting the evidence for my verification. Take the stand and swear that it is true. Speak his peace or forever hold it. I would be happy to pay the bill and settle the matter on the private side without dragging the matter to court. Meaning tell them, hey, you don't have to waste any time. You're going to know, say, okay, I'm going to keep up the bullshit. I could just deal it, risk it off a record and say, yo, I believe that there's no man making a claim that I own it because my claim is the Maryland, who is not a man. Who did I cause harm? Who did I cause injury? What property damage? What contract did I breach? The document here, right? When you say expect to pay, so you're telling them that this should be on public record already. Would have these out there in a sequential order, going out with other documents. Like it's telling you how much you are expected to be compensated in the event that they should place any unlawful or improper lien, unlawful arrest, it's 2 million, whatever. You set your fee schedule. You get what I'm saying? And this is by virtue of the laws that are backing you up. I don't know you're talking about that on the books. Supreme Court, Law Library, Parliamentary Law Library. any law library down in Jamaica. We'll gang them. See? Yeah. So back to this thing here now. It says if it is your wish and if it is your order that I must appear in court, I am going to require compensation. You can expect to pay the bill. Of what benefit would it be to me to appear in court if all you're going to do is arrest me? I will appear as man only. The other side, you there? The other side can appear as man only. Now tell me, can the other side appear as man? Huh?
Definitely not.
Okay, they cannot appear as man, right? So there you see where this is going. The plaintiff must appear and press the record. I am not the defendant in your suitcase because you, the man, can't be the defendant. I am not the plaintiff in your suitcase. I will answer verifiable claims only. I will not answer a complaint. A complaint is different from a claim. How do you suppose all this happened? Verification. That's what you need. I believe I was entrapped. If someone is making a false complaint against me, I believe they are. I'm going to have to file a claim. If he said you have 3 days to answer in writing, this is due to lack of time given to me to respond to orders of the court, which them send a warrant for this brethren, and the time that I run out for them get back this to him before the warrant, before one day to that, the date to go court rather. If you fail or refuse to answer the aforesaid questions, it is my wish and I do require of you that you discharge the complaint. I say the word again because I'm telling about charge, you know, but the other one is discharge. Seeing? And that was it. So in essence, but just show you say when you're dealing with these instrumentalities of government, everything that's fictional, you can't be doing it in the assumption of the straw. That is why I'm saying when we sign documents, we are signing by. It was signed by the man. It wasn't signed as the straw. So you put by your colon, your first name, your hyphen, your middle name, your colon, your last name. Me put a comma, an agent, because I'm the agent for this artificial person that they created, but they can only use it. But once me step forward and say, hey, this thing come off of my property, uno create it, it's supposed to be for my benefit. Me I take it and keep it and put it up. Not that you're putting up the birth certificate, but everything that is attached to it, the number attached to the TRN, you are the sovereign, where they're in charge of this thing. You need to take charge of your office because they use their office and send that correspondence to your office. You now supposed to respond from your office, but not as the office. So it's just a paper war play between you and them, boy. But you stand up on the land and you're under them jurisdiction.
Yeah, I was speaking. I was saying it's a lot of information, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this artificial person and this natural person. How do I reclaim my natural person so that I can be immune to all of these fictional things that are going on?
Somebody need to mute. So you were grown up believing that the wall have the color yellow, but somehow you reach one point where you find out say, I know yellow, you know, it's only a presumption of yellow, right? The wall really black, or it have one next color, right? You are going to state something which is your truth and put it out there, like back in the days, and you used to go up on the court step and say, oh yeah, whatever they want to say. I remember it. Let it be known to all men. And you speak what you want to say. That's called public record. So you put it out there. You put that out there as public record, and if it is not rebutted after 30 days, I want to say rebutted, affidavit may talk, if it is not rebutted after 30 days, it stands as truth. Fact. And anybody can challenge it after that, you know. Seeing? But them have to make sure, so when them are challenge it, them are come with something where provide one next fact for make you, for put you at fault, for say you make a claim, you make a false claim. And nobody can deny you your birthright, because you see you're going in a legal context and look at the word dominion, my brother. Dominion. Hey, to them the Virgin attack and look upon this dominion, give you ownership or right of property. We born can hear that say God give you dominion over the earth, you know. And thing. And look upon the machine they use and take away dominion there. You know, a machine named dominant. They use a voting machine when you're dominion there and trick we, you know. Flip a thing from Trump to Biden. And say Biden and say Trump then no valid claim. All the allegations are baseless. And they couldn't come up with nothing for state or them a state. Or even if they come up with something, it was shut down by the same system when now give them. Yeah, man. So if you look at it now, this is their narrative that black we are the original. Look on over here. So look on the two set of people them when I have. If I Hispanic, you know, same people then call Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Central American, the whole of them in them region, in the Americas. Because if you understand what America is really and truly, you know, show you something again. Our really is don't look at this, yes, sir, as the mainland, you know. Seeing? Look at this. OAS, which is the Organizations of American States. Them come with them democracy something, but I know so you go. And look on it, this is all of the country them. Member states. Right? Member state. Let me see something. All of these countries from A to V. Where there? Venezuela. Every country around here, so. And look on this. You see what this say? This say United States of America, it not say US. The US is the corporation that is doing business on the land in America, pretending to be the government. Just like this Jamaica, yes, sir. Seeing she are the permanent representative under this for Jamaica to the US. But you have what's called a de facto, DEFE, de facto, FACCTO, de facto and de jure. You have what's called a de jure government. What is the difference between de jure and de facto? Right? De facto means the state of affairs that is true in fact, but that is not officially sanctioned. So they refer to the Biden administration or any way you call it, Democrat government inside, when it wants a Democrat inside, that's the de facto government. Contrast, de jure means the state of affairs that is in accordance with the law. And the law is natural law, where I've been saying to you, inside the republic, man have rights. Inside a democratic something, so they want a de facto, they have persons who have privileges. So the Congress was de facto by nature when them in a Lincoln time when Lincoln dead and right. Learn this thing here. Learn how really, governor affidavit, not too tough about it. Seeing when we look at this is what I would want us to start off by using down there in a sense. Seeing an affidavit of identity. And as me tell you, them something you have to have courage, you know. You can't want to go like no coward around here, you know. Seeing, but at the same time, we have to know our rights. So it is saying you would have a picture right here, your name, family, the name of your family name, which is your last name. Right? Domicile. We're not going to put JAMAIC, we'll put a mic or the indigenous name. Mailing address, care of notary, the JP we sign it, so it can't expire. You put your end up name right there, so. Seeing? Family of living human being endowed with a soul, hereby certify that the image shown on this page is my image, and I can ascribe as living soul father, man of God. It says being about 6 foot tall with brown hair, whatever upon your driver's license, your copy of the information there, seen, and weighing approximately whatever the information is. As far as birth date and location are concerned, I have no first-hand knowledge, a hearsay of that. Therefore, I cannot say anything more than what I have heard, which is that I was born of a woman on or about the year 2000 in the fall season on the land of North America. We could put the land America. You understand what I said? And that there was no commercial transaction involved. So no birth certificate, yeah, kill them something. This affidavit of identity, photograph, supersedes and replace all to date. Because when you read on the website, we just show you have a document that tell us the driver's license isn't even supposed to be used as an ID. Under the laws of Jamaica, this affidavit of identity with photograph is made under penalty of perjury without the corporate Jamaica. Them something would have put there, even though this have a code, but we know we can find the corporate Jamaica now to me would have been the trust territory under certain charter in the United Nations. This some would have go look for them code, but me the years I study this thing all along and well want to do something with Jamaica and uno come now for give me the strength and help me. But uno have to do some of my work too. See? Acknowledgement. This is a notary public. This is what the JP I got to do say, boy, you did come before or with the true correct image of a human being, then down the soul commonly called whatever, whose mailing address, whatever, having witness signing and sealing, because you can get the back of the document affidavit of identity. And you make the notary sign it and you put it on one 24-pound paper, thick piece of paper. You understand what I say? And you write it. You got the stamp office. You go to the stamp office, tax office, get the stamp. Once you get the stamp, you can put it in a newspaper if you want. You can go the RGD, but sometimes these people are gatekeepers. You might go there and they want to say this is a document you can't go up on the record. Here in the United States now, we have code where I go enforce them to make sure so you go up on the record because you can't deny nobody no right around here. Jamaica, I don't know if you find them code there for public officials or any one of them. You know, them have to go call and supervisor and we go say, why? Show me it in the law why you can't go up on it because it's an instrument. Enforce the sovereign law. If we go back to remembering the words that we were reading earlier. With that, any questions? Fly the gate like in the pirate.
So, in a case, if when you're presenting this document to the place I keep all of the birth certificate, remember my name right now.
The record, the registrar.
Yes, and you say you might book up on a gatekeeper. Is it that they could like blow the whistle to say that you have persons wanting to?
Well, if them want blow it, nothing wrong with that. But just like here, so it's not cut you know. Sometimes you go to some bank and you go there. Sometimes we have to call IRS to get some number. And you can't tell them say you have social. You have to tell them say no, you're not on social. And sometimes they know, and they want to give like a hard time. They go have to hang up and call back and get somebody different. Or, you understand what I say? But they are not supposed to deprive you of any right. They are there to function and perform their duty to the best of their ability. So saying this for say, sometimes you will buck up in a little roadblock with one or two of them. But look what is a registrar, right? Google. What is a registrar? Register General Department. Now that them call it? That's our record stuff. The registered office is responsible for issuing transcript and enrollment verification, evaluating transcript, conducting registration, awarding and posting degrees, providing graduation, whatever I want to do. But this is a registrar in a Google sense then. But them conduct registration and you register your thing, you want to make it public on the record, the public record. I don't know if I answer your question. You just have to go and knock on the door until you get through. I want to feel. Yeah?
Well informed.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, make a piece of document.
Hmm?
Tell me something, Queen. You hear me?
Yeah.
Suppose you have a person out there where no, I couldn't do it for marriage. Let me use something else. Suppose you have a person where who a bank loan
Mm-hmm.
and them want turn over to this. Are they able to?
Turn over to, as in, you
Declare
mean,
nationality back on
of
the natural law.
course, man. Not tie you down.
And when that is done, are they still liable to that loan?
All right. Remember that it's an allegation. The loan, the debt is an allegation. So you answer only to verifiable claim. So if you're making a claim, they need to verify it. And this is what verification is
Mhm.
under the Union and of American republics, all around the republic. But them just dream over a thing and I call it democracy. Their work fit the Rockefeller Foundation, the Bilderberg and people that seen, and the stage was set for the weaving of a web of provincial institutions that came to be known as the American system, the international institutional system. The OS came to 1940, Bogota, Colombia, OS, only 35 member nation from A to V. So we have to show them foreign affairs minister and put them to notice, but we are doing it under government to government relationship. You're supposed to deny your rights. So that's why I come down now to seriousness and collectivity. How we are going to move collective as I said, we have in a unit, in a card, one man branch off. Look at this word we got estate. Look at this word we got estate again. Feudal law was the right of the lord of a fee to reenter on the same. It became vacant by the extinction of the blood and the tenant. So then take you off of the land. Become the land become vacant. This extinction might neither be real land, sanguinis in one right, or else per where the course of descent was broken by the blood of the tenant, as a fee might be holden either of the crown or from some inferior lord. The estate was not always to the crown. The word estate in this country at the present time merely indicates the preferred right of the state to an preferable right of the state to an estate left vacant when they say we're dead, when they declare we're dead upon the birth certificate, which is a death certificate, and without there being anyone in existence able to make a claim. So they never have the money to make the claim until we are 21. We're supposed to come and make a claim, and we don't do it. So we continue to walk in this perpetual servitude. Let me find the word was estate, estate, est. Yeah, man, it says comprehends everything a man owns, real and personal, and ought right to be limited in its expression unless connected to some other word which must be necessarily whatever. It says it means the whole or property owned. So this thing is saying to you, my brother, right? Any person claiming an interest, who can claim an interest into your estate when they create, you came into this world with the right to property, and somebody want to make a claim that they have been doing, they may cause a warning to be issued to the cautioner. That is why, oh boy, the cautioner, file an acknowledgement of service, give particulars. The registrar must then sign the warning, and the person warning with a caution must be served and encounter. Opposing the person who wishes to file an acknowledgement of service on a P19 at the registry, serve a copy of that acknowledgement of service on the caution and record.